a fraud. Andrea Ramirez grew up in the San Francisco area of California, and she always thought she was half Mexican because of her father. Andrea Ramirez and her brother could never really understand why they had light hair and fair skin and didn't really look a whole lot like their father. They just always assumed that they took on more of their mother's appearance, but they were in for a big surprise. In 2013, her brother had a DNA test and thought the results were rather shocking to say the least. So Ramirez wanted to get some answers for herself and got her DNA tested. She found out that her father wasn't really who he said he was, and also found out that she had a half-sister. What else was her mom keeping secret? It turned out that Ramirez's mother had conceived her and her brother through a sperm bank, and that her half-sister had also been fathered by the same donor. Do you think parents are inclined to tell their kids who their real biological fathers are? Or is it best that they grow up and believe that someone else is their true father? Let us know in the comment section. Number 7. Getting families closer. DNA ancestry tests are getting relatives closer than ever before, and it's brought a rise to a taboo that might shock many of you. There's a disorder called genetic sexual attraction, and it's often caused by siblings meeting each other for the first time as adults. Without even knowing it, meeting someone with similar genetic qualities as yourself can trigger an erotic response in someone's mind which appears to be too strong for many to overcome. At a time when people are able to trace unknown relatives, genetic sexual attraction is becoming a shocking reality. It's much less likely to develop with relatives who were raised together, according to some more recent studies. People might not always realize that they have a long-lost sibling, and meeting them in person can bring upon a common bond that's not possible in other relations. Some estimates believe that half of these reunions can bring upon obsessions despite knowing that it's wrong. Such is the case for Patrick and Suzanne that we see here. He's been to jail several times for his incestuous relationship with his sister, and even had a couple kids. Number 6. Gregg Cobb. A man named Gregg Cobb, who's also a white nationalist, gained some notoriety for his statements about his belief in white superiority. He got a reality check though after he got a DNA ancestry test. He was the founder of a city called Leaf, located in North Dakota, with a population of 32 people that he hoped would be home to other white nationalists. There was a documentary made about it called Welcome to Leaf. In 2013, on the Trisha Goddard show, he agreed to taking a DNA test to prove his white ancestry. It came back showing that he had 14% sub-Saharan African DNA, which really made him look like an idiot. He believed that it was a faulty test, and likely rigged in order to make him look like an idiot on national TV. It also made his white supremacist buddies a little bit suspicious, to say the least. Later on, Cobb said that he had another DNA test that would show that he was actually entirely European, except for 3% being Iberian, which he didn't consider to be European. Number 5. Collin Plebuch. DNA ancestry tests are beginning to get more and more accurate, and the likelihood of them messing up your ethnic makeup is decreasing at a rapid pace. While detecting genetic diseases is still tricky, scientists are rather certain that they've come up with a good process to determine your background with a high degree of accuracy. Collin Plebuch thought that they had made a mistake when the results came back. It stated that she was a combination of European Jewish, Middle Eastern, and Eastern European. She expected a mix of English and Western European DNA, and even wrote the company with an angry letter saying that they must have messed up big time. She took a second test and got the same results. After digging a little bit deeper, she found out that her father was not her biological father after all, but something much more shocking. She uncovered that at birth, she was actually sent home to the wrong family. Someone at the hospital had made a huge mistake. Number 4. Awkward Christmas presents. Your mom might not want you to take a DNA ancestry test and find out the truth about who your father truly is. Such is the case when a Reddit user bought his mother, brother, and father, and also his 2 sisters some DNA ancestry tests in December of 2018. He thought it'd be fun to see exactly where his parents came from, and even was a little bit suspicious about one of his relatives possibly being a little bit different from the rest. His mother insisted that they shouldn't take the test because of various chemicals that were used, but that simply didn't make any sense. His mother finally admitted that the oldest daughter was actually from another man who passed away shortly after her birth. She stated that it was best to keep it a secret and it was too painful to talk about. He claims that it wasn't really a sad experience and it brought them closer together as a family in the long run. Number 3. Dr. Daddy? A woman named Kelly Rowlett knew that she was the result of a sperm donor and that her father was incapable of reproduction. But being the curious woman that she decided that she wanted to know more about her real biological father and got a DNA ancestry test. Was she ready to handle the truth? Apparently not. She found out that the sperm donor wasn't some random guy after all, and in fact, the biological father was Gerald Mortimer, the fertility doctor. It turns out that Doc was doing his own donations and injecting the woman with his own personal supply that he creates himself. Not long after the test, Kelly filed a lawsuit accusing the doctor of fraud, medical negligence, battery, emotional distress, and a breach of contract. Mr. Mortimer knew that Kelly would be his biological daughter, but didn't want to disclose the information. Seems like a classic prank at the gynecologist's office, and he pulled off the old switcheroo. But hold on, it gets even crazier. There are even some reports about a doctor in Virginia being the biological father of over 75 children. Now that's gotta be some serious child support. Number 2. Generous uncle. How much would you pay a woman to keep your illegitimate child a secret? Well, it doesn't really matter now because those kids will probably end up taking DNA tests in the future and find out who you truly are. According to one anonymous blogger on The Moneyist by MSN.com, this was all too much of a reality. Growing up, he was generously spoiled by his wealthy uncle who provided them with hundreds of thousands of dollars. He would spoil their mother quite generously as well, and it turned out he had a little secret. The reason for his generosity was actually because he was their father. The man was an extremely wealthy CFO of a company that his mother was fond of. It caused a whole lot of drama with his family, and he wanted to keep the whole ordeal under the carpet. DNA testing would reveal the affair he had, but not until he was on his deathbed. But hold on, before we get to our number 1, we'd like to ask you guys, what would happen if you took a DNA test and found out something unsettling about your family's history? How would you handle finding out the news that your family were actually Nazis or slave owners in the past? Would it have been better to not know at all? Let us know in the comments section, and maybe we'll feature you over on our channel American Eye. We'll see you there. And number 1, who's the mother? A woman from Washington State named Lydia Fairchild was asking the government for assistance since her life was getting kind of rough from having 3 kids. The father was also not paying child support. In order to request assistance, she needed to take a DNA test in order to prove that she was indeed the mother to those kids. She agreed to the procedure and was surprised to hear that she wasn't actually their mother. She knew the kids came from her, and there was no doubt in her mind until a new revelation took place. It turned out that she had a rare genetic situation called chimerism, which is actually getting its name from a strange Greek mythological hybrid creature. This basically meant that she had a twin sister who had essentially merged or was absorbed by her during the pregnancy. The cells of the twin who was absorbed are still present by the other twin, making her essentially her own twin sister. So although she is one person, she still has 2 different sets of genetic material. This is basically why the original DNA test didn't work out too well for her. Wow, now that was a cool video, wasn't it? Be sure to check out more of my cool videos over here on American Eye. We'll see you there.